Hey guys, welcome to another video. This is going to be my second build of the year that we're going on. This one is going to be the 23 Ford Model T, and this one is going to be very different. It is not going to be box stock. I am actually mixing pieces from my extra part spins that I have been keeping down underneath of my workbench here. And I have like 6 or 7 different boxes here. They're kind of sorted, however, as you can tell, I have all kinds of trees left in there, random pieces kind of thrown in the bottom that just I don't know what they are. They either I cut them off the tree or they fell off the tree. But I have all kinds of extra wheels and tires, all kinds of decals. I have all kinds of extra tires and wheels as well. So yeah, I have a lot of extra pieces. So I decided I'm gonna take a couple out and try to use them for this Model T. Figured try and take a couple of them out. I did grab these wheels. I don't know what kit they're from. They're pretty cool. They are the same size as the wheels from the kit itself, so it works perfect. They're just a bit fatter, that's all. One reason that I am doing this is because I have built this kit before in the past. It was the Coca-Cola edition, and I absolutely hated it. The frame sucks, in my opinion. I don't like it. It's all individual pieces. I did glue it together to see if maybe they kind of like fixed it, but as you can see, it's still the same. Every piece is individually glued on there, and it's warped in the middle. I just don't like it. There's nothing, I mean, no, it's very simple or nothing to it, but I just don't like it. So I decided to go with some custom stuff. Plus I wanted to make it a little bit different. I really haven't seen people make a custom 23 car. So I do have things taped together here. I have a frame from a Roadster. I have a 3D engine over here that I made a long time ago from Iceman Collections. I have my little buddy here who wants to also be in the video. Say hi. So let me turn the camera over to the bench so you can see more clearly what I'm working on here, because if you ask me what I'm doing, I can tell you that I do not know. So we're gonna figure this all out together. Okay, now that I got you over here on the bench, I have this frame is from a different Roadster, 32 Roadster that I built a while ago. It's solid. I have it taped down here. It fits pretty well to this. I'm just trying to make sure everything fits. There's certain things that I want. Like I glued the body together here, and I put on the front panel. These are just taped on here. They're gonna be painted a different color than the wood. It's not gonna look like wood, but it is. It's gonna be different colors. I'll explain that later when I paint it. I have a different back axle here, and it looks funny because what I did is I cut the pieces here. I cut these off and I turned them around, so that way this is facing the wrong way, essentially. So like this, and I cut it and I switched it because I need this to sit this way, so the wheels will sit inside of the wheel well. Otherwise it'll be over here and it won't work right. So I needed these to be like this. Otherwise it would have been over here and it'd be hitting and it wouldn't have been right. So I cut those to be there. I have like, these are drive shafts from the Mobius trucks. I figured because I have so many, I'll just cut them and make my own. So because it's going to be using a different engine, so that's why I have all those there. I have two different front axle pieces here. This is from the kit. I'm going to use this. This actually fits really well into this Roadster front end piece here. And what I'm going to do is I found this front piece here. It has brake pads on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this up. I'm going to cut these brake pads off. I'm just going to cut them off, glue them to the back of this. And then because I have a couple extra steel rods, I'm going to shove them in here, and I'm going to glue the brake pad to this. So that way it's just kind of like the original. I'm going to try and put shocks. I have a couple of shocks. I'm going to try and put them in here just so it's a little more modern. It's not going to look right. Nothing on this car is going to look right. So before anyone tries to say something, I know everything on here is not going to look right. I only have these two that I could find. I don't have any more extras, so I made my own. What I did is I just cut them as close as possible. I traced that, and then I made my own. They're not perfect. They do look funny. However, when they sit behind a tire, you're not going to be able to tell. This is going to be painted the same way as those, so where calipers are going to poke through and you'll be able to see them behind the wheel. And that's really all I wanted. So then this is a transmission from a Mobius truck as well. I figure it's Ford. And it's going to go to this. This is an Iceman Collection 3D engine. I got this a long time ago. This did have like a protrusion of like a fake transmission on the back, so I just cut it off and sanded everything. That way I could put this on here like that. You do a little bit more sanding, just get it more flush, but that way it has a transmission. I am missing some pieces for this. I do need a belt, serpentine belt. My spark plugs are not in there, and obviously I'm missing a distributor and some wires, so I'll be wiring this. There's probably a couple more wires I need to put on here. But this is the engine that will be going into this kit, and it actually fits as long as I get exhaust in there like that, manifolds, so it'll fit in there like that. Turn this around, it'll be close to the wall, but it will work in there. So that'll be sitting in there like that. And then I'll have the wheels. And then obviously I have to figure out how to get I need to figure out how to get the grill on there. So I gotta have that, seeing as it's gonna be a little too far out. So I'm gonna have to get some extra plastic sheets and cut an extension and glue it on there. I'll probably have it come out a little bit extra, probably about up to here. And so that I'm gonna have to try and figure out, because I do want the grill on there. So I have to figure that out. The interior, I still have the seats, the wheels, the steering wheel. There's two seats back here, and then obviously the roof that'll go on top. And then I have another Mobius piece here from their engines. It is the master brake cylinder. Right now it's in two pieces. But I figured since I'm putting kind of a modern engine, it would have modern brakes. So I'd glue this together, and I figured I would just put this here just to have it. So there's that. So anyway, yeah, that's the kind of plan for this Ford T-Express wagon here that's going on. I'm just going to try and make it a modern car. This is just an extra brace for the underneath the chassis. So another thing I was going to do is I have exhaust here. However, the exhaust is kind of in the way because it bends down. It's too long, so I'd have to cut it here. See underneath here. So like this, as you can see, because this goes up, I'd have to cut this and then cut that 90-degree angle out and then make it straight, or that way it connects to like here or somewhere close. It's kind of a bit of a hassle, so I figured I found some side pipes. I'm going to take the side pipes, I'm going to cut the ends off here instead of doing the long exhaust, and I'm going to have the side pipes come out the side here like this. So I was originally going to have it come out a little bit longer, but it goes into the wheel well and it'll be hitting the wheel, and I want it to come out just before it. So trim those down and have them come out like that. This thing I have some side pipes coming out. And another thing is, after I put some of the dash in there and all the stuff that does belong, I have extra gauges. I'm going to put some extra gauges in there. So these will be sitting somewhere up here where there's room. So this thing will be tricked out. It's not supposed to be a proper build. I'm just doing this because I want it to look different and funny and see how crazy I can get with it. So I do have like extra shocks and springs and stuff that I'm going to try and use or cut. Let's see here. Put those shocks, and then I have these ones here. And then I found leaf springs that I might use, which I probably won't now. And then I found these shocks and springs for the front and back. Stop it. So, it's a work in progress. It's gonna take me a little bit just to try and figure things out. But I have a little bit more mocking of things to do, and I will try. Pretty much the main thing to try and get on there is the engine and the wheels. Everything else will be fine, but as long as I can get those on there with no problem. I should probably make sure I can get that transmission in there since I have it like this too. Oh yeah, it'll work. That transmission will work in there beautiful. I just have to cut that peg off. And there we go. Do sand that, glue it together. This will fit in there. So it'll be quite the adventure. And let me put the camera down so I can get back in here and try to figure out what else I can work with and what I can do. And I will come right back to this before I paint this. Okay, well, I got my engine here, doing a little modifications. Doing some modifications to the engines. I do have it wired. I got the hose here. Now it's a little blurry. Let me raise this a bit. So this hose came with a Gopher series. This is what I'm using here, the Gopher Racing orange distributor with the hose in that. So I cut the hose. There's a little piece here. So I cut it and I put a 22 gauge copper wire in there. It's just some wire you get from Hobby Lobby, and what I did is I tried to figure out how far from these holes are from the radiator, and I made them extra long just in case I need to cut them. I was mocking it up, so I got them where they go. I drilled out the hole a little bit. I got the wire in there, and then I got the wire sticking out. And plus the wire gives the hose extra strength so I can bend it to how I want. Show you an example of how well it fits here. So I have so here's the wire, 22 gauge, and the hose. If I can see, and it just slips right on there perfectly. And then I cut it so that way I have some wire on here and wire on here, and then they go into the holes that I drill. So that's how I do those hoses. And then of course, I got the wiring here. You see I got some silver beads. So these beads are extremely tiny, as you can see, from the size of my finger and how big they are. Oops. Those beads are these here. Whatever check glass beads, something from Hobby Lobby. I don't know where the size. Oh, okay. So there's the size of these. So very small. Try to be careful and not dump them everywhere on the floor. But pretty much what I'm doing here, so I already got half of it done because I wanted to make sure it worked. So this way I can show you guys. I am just taking some super glue, put a little bit in there. And then I take the bead here. And these preset holes actually fit this perfect. I got lucky with that. I did nothing to make these fit. I just wanted to see if they fit. If they didn't, they were just going to stick out. But those pre-drill holes for this 3D engine, for where the spark plugs are supposed to be, they fit the beads perfectly. So I got lucky with that. But those just drop down in there, and voila. Now I need to do, before anyone says anything, I know I messed up the firing range of the pistons. I grabbed the wrong wire and drug it to this side. This wire here is supposed to be here. I messed up, but whatever. You would have never noticed until I said something. But I had it set up, and then I grabbed the wrong wire on accident because I was trying to fit this on there. So that's a oopsie on me, but whatever, it'll work. So I just take this, measure it out, go a little bit extra. Cut that, and then we're just gonna bend it and force it in that bead. And this, okay, sorry for the weird cut. I ran out of storage, so I had to delete some things to continue recording this. So we're just gonna cut that wire. Give it a little bend and shove it in the bead, and hopefully the glue holds it. Take this one across the bead. Trying to get it in there. A little hard to see, but it works. And the last one here. Now I save these wires. I use them for other stuff in case I want to wire something else. So I don't ever like throw these away. So I kind of just have a little drawer with cut wires for something else in case I want to use them. Same thing with the little hose. But anyway, there is this engine all nice and wired for the distributor. Now I need to put some wires coming out of here and here, which they, from video or photo that I've seen, they both of them come this way down and then towards the firewall. And then I need to put a belt on here and some other stuff. So once I figure out all that stuff, I'll be back. Okay, so I got a little more progress here. So I got a couple things taped up here. I decided just to glue the tailgate on flat, so I got tape holding that in place. This is just holding this. This is not glued at all. See, it's still loose. We got a little bit more wiring done to the engine. So I got some wires coming out of here. Got a little tube going in right there. I had some small tape that fit this perfectly for a belt. So I just cut it and wrapped it around there. Some more copper wires that are going to go to the firewall. Right now they're just bent up. So I got to figure out how those are going to fit in there. Wire on the brake master. I may have to put another one, or I'll just tie another one here. That way it goes to the front brakes and the back brakes. But I got that. I just hand painted that gold and silver real quick. Here are the brake pads. I cut them off. And I just hand painted them silver. I need to repaint. I need to paint the backs of them and then paint these the calipers red. As you can see, I just need to paint that. So it's just small stuff real quick. That'll be done. I was gluing to the back of these wheels. I was gluing to the back of those. Make sure the holes are going all the way through. Where the steering column is supposed to stick out, I capped it off. Tried my best to cut a piece here, and I just close this off because let's see where'd it go. This when it went through the hole, it was just hitting the engine block, and so I'm gonna have to make my own steering column or steering link that is going to come out of here and off to the side and then down to the frame. Speaking of frame, I glued the front and rear axle on, and this is the steering link that came with the kit. It's glued in place. I'll just make my own little place here. My own steering link to come out somehow. I did glue, have some plastic sheets, and I cut a piece to cap this off because when the body sat on here, it had a big gap. So when this sits on there now, it's pretty much closed off. So that'll sit there like that. So you can see the other side, you can see the gap because the fender's not there, but that's how it'll look. So I try to close it off, try to make it look like there's not a huge gap sitting there. I may have to trim it down a little bit. I think I may have to trim it down a little bit just to get it to, that way the frame is actually touching. Yeah, I do have to trim it down. So I will have to trim this down here, just so it's even with this. So that I gotta work on. You can see the wire going through the axle that I put in there. What else did I do? That's really it. I found some gauges that I was gonna put in there. So those will be on the front somewhere on the dash. Well, not really a dash, but whatever this is. And once I figure out those, I can just get the painting. I decided I'm going with the side pipes. So these are just gonna be on there. I gotta cut them off and figure out the right angle. A few other things I need to figure out. Other than that, I just need to do a couple more things, and then I can start painting this. And oh yeah, I did paint the transmission. I glued it on the back. I just painted it, hand painted it silver and glued it on. So engine is done, and that's it. So once I figure out a couple more things, I'm gonna take it to the paint booth. guys, I'm gonna end the video here. Everything is painted. It just needs to set for a few days. I hand painted a few things that I didn't show on the painting part, and some pieces I did show. I covered up with my hand, got in the way, so you had the wrong angle of things. Everything's looking nice, nice and glossy black with a Kaleido Gloss Black primer. I'm going to try and make the wood grain pop out a little bit different. I'm going to test it on the seat first and see if I make sure it works on that, and then I'll do the rest of the car. So this is going to be the end of the part 1 for Ford Model T that I'm doing and customizing and just pretty much making the modern version of the wheels and engine. I'll try and get this done before February. I do want to get the military car truck done. I'm probably gonna pick another three models to pick for February, and I have you guys choose which one I build first. I'll probably make that kind of a new thing. Have you guys just kind of pick out of my stash. I'll pick 3 and then I'll just show them. I'll make it a separate video or a short or something. I don't know yet. Something let you guys interact a little bit more. But anyway, I'll figure that out when it comes. Part 2 will hopefully be in a week or two, a couple weeks from when I post this video. I just want to say thank you, and I will see you on the next.